You know, we were getting sped up, and you know, we were making like uncharacteristic passes when we could have just swung the ball, made simple ones. But when you let a team like that get going and they finally have confidence, things get hectic, and so we kind of did it to ourselves.
Goal for this team was to put together 2 cohesive halves. Why is it so difficult to adjust in that second half, and how do you guys lose that momentum?
I was just say is the way we started the second half, all of the starting 5, including me, we didn't come out, ready to play like they did. They played like they had nothing to lose because, they were down, and we just got complacent like we always do. And, they went on a run, their shooters got hot, and when a team like that gets going, like it's hard to, just take that life away from them. The thing that helped in the first half is we didn't get them shots. They were taking some shots, and then they were missing, and we were getting and going, and we were tiring them out. And the second half, they were just, making everything because off our mistakes. So it was on the 5 unit, on the starting 5 unit.
What do you guys think it will take, or what do you think needs to happen to get rid of that sense of complacency that KJ talked about, that when you guys have built up a lead, you can maybe get comfortable in those instances?
I don't think there's anything you could point to. I think it's a mentality, a toughness mentality. Coach talks about like you have to play the same way from start to finish. You can't stop and take breaks. And so it's a matter of, just us as a team, doing it. Like you can't talk about it anymore. You can't analyze it. You can't rationalize why it happens. We just, every second half we just throw up a dud. And we can't let that happen. We have to come out with the same fire we come out the game with, and that's that.
Jalen, this team has obviously had a lot of highs and lows so far this year. This feels like, you've had some bad losses so far, but this feels like the worst of the bunch so far. League play, you had a big lead at home tonight. How do you guys go about shaking this one off? Obviously, going on the road already this weekend for another league game.
Again, it's a weird thing to describe, like how to do these things. I mean, it's something that like, game's over. Like we have probably the rest of the 4 or 5 hours until we go to sleep to think about it, and then we wake up and we have scouting report in the morning for our next game. So if you sit on this game, it's only going to carry over to the next game. And so we have to take the lessons we've learned, watch film, and move on, because we have another challenge up at Washington. And I know I've never played there, but I know it's a hard place to play.
Yeah.
And we have to be ready for that challenge. And it's funny how sports is like that. Like, you have another one 3 days, like you got to forget it.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about season. You can't just, obviously, myself especially, I'm going to think about this. It stings a lot for sure because we had this one and we let it go. But this is one of those things where you just, as hard as it is, you just have to just have a mindset of, all right, just move on to the next one. Because with season, games are back-to-back, days apart, so you can't just dwell off a loss.
What are y'all expecting that film session tomorrow morning to be like?
Just how every film session goes. How can we get better? What is it that we did wrong? What is it that led to us coming out in the second half and losing the lead? What is it that we could have done to win the game and late down the stretch? Just focusing on those certain things and making sure that we get better before this next game.
You guys are 9-21 on your layups. You've struggled to hit those throughout the season. Just what do you think has to change there to get those to fall?
I'll say, like you say 9 for 21, but the shot selection is a huge part of that. Like, there was a lot of layups we got blocked, a lot of layups that had no chance to get to the basket. If you take those out, if you said we're 9 for 21, we're probably 9 for 15.
Yeah.
So learning how to make the right play and understanding they're coming to rotate hard, you got to make the extra pass. Or if they're come to 2 feet and play off 2 feet and get to a better shot. So if you factor that in, we're shooting great from 2. Yeah. But we have to learn how to get the shots we want every possession, and not just look at we're 9 for 21. We need to be better at finishing. Maybe we should be smarter about what the heck we're taking to begin with.
Anything else?
I just want to say, my fault, Buff Nation. And we're gonna get better for sure. We're gonna get better. We're gonna work hard. We're gonna watch film, and we're gonna get better. But we had this one, and personally, I blame it on myself as a leader, but, we going to get better. I'm going to make sure that we get better and I get better.
Yeah, this one stings, obviously. I mean, we played well enough to win this game, but we didn't down the stretch. We did in the second half. I felt like it should have been like a 20-point game minimum at halftime, but it wasn't. And this team, we continually talk about a lot of the same things: not finishing, turning the ball over, not handling pressure. It's been a common theme with this group, and not being able to put two halves together, whether it's offensively or defensively. And I thought we lost this game right out of the chute in the second half. Our guys that were starting that second half were not ready to play. They were like running in mud, and we did not come. We talked about winning the first 4 minutes. We talked about winning the second half. I mean, it wasn't. Neither one of those were close. So, disappointing loss. Probably top 5 disappointing losses in my 13 years at Colorado. I don't have them ranked, but I can't think of 4 that sting more than this one. I can tell you that.
Coach, obviously a bad night on the turnover front. You started the game like that. The rest of the first half was a little better, and then the second half was just all over the place. Does that matter there, as you talked about, their pressure that this team has generally struggled with this season?
Yeah, I mean, I asked our team in the locker room, why did we lose this game? Turnovers. What was the reason for our turnovers? Not being able to handle pressure. What is that a result of? Toughness. So you have to start with the problem, then you got to figure out, okay, how do we fix the problem? How do we correct the problem? And at the root of it all is toughness. And the question now becomes, can we change that? Can I change it as the coach? Can Steve Englehart, our strength and conditioning coach, change it? Can our players change it? And the rest of this season will be determined by that answer.
You've had some other tough losses. Are you hoping maybe a loss like this, as much as it stings, and we saw how much it affected KJ, can kind of finally, help this team kind of say enough is enough?
Look, we've had 4 now, right? We're 4-4. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So the answer to that right now is absolutely not. Our guys can't learn from it. They cannot. I mean, we're just and we have to play better. We played well enough to win tonight. We got stops down the stretch when we needed to, but that last play, like Horns driving to the rim, we had 4 guys collapsing on him, and we leave a wide open, good shooter on the scouting report. Again, it gets back to scouting report. Look, we beat Yale the other night because we got a stop. We needed to get a stop. And we made free throws, and we had to make free throws. Tonight, we didn't make free throws, and we had to make free throws, and we didn't get that last stop. Otherwise, we're talking about, And look, I've been doing this a long time. It should not be so different in terms of the gut feeling that I have or that our players have based on winning and losing. Winning and losing is important. It is. I mean, if it wasn't, the difference between the feeling of how I felt after beating Yale, which maybe we deserved it, maybe we didn't, but dodged a bullet, versus tonight where we didn't dodge a bullet and Arizona State beat us. It's the same team, it's the same inconsistencies, it's the same problems. It's just, you'd like to learn from your wins. And our team can't do that. And we can't, we've shown we've learned from our losses up to now, but, guess what? Washington on Sunday, they're playing good. I mean, Arizona State was out there without their starting point guard tonight. and with another guy who's probably the most talented guy in their program who's out with a suspension. So 2 of their top players are out. They come in this building, in this environment, and we let them do that, and we wilt. We wilted tonight. We wilted to their pressure. As a coach, that's really, really hard to deal with. I got to do a better job. I have to do a better job.
We saw some of the offensive struggles late in games last season. Tonight, just 3 points in the last 6 minutes, all on free throws.
Absolutely.
Just what happened with the offensive execution there late in the game?
Well, look, we couldn't handle our pressure. We couldn't make an entry pass. We couldn't make a backdoor cut. We couldn't drive the ball and make a play off the bounce. So when you can't execute your stuff, you can't make an entry pass for your sets, it's hard to run a set. We turned over probably 3 or 4 of those tonight alone. If you can't handle a guy up in your grill and get by him and make a play for either yourself or your teammate, it's tough to handle that pressure. You got to be able to handle the pressure, and we're not able to handle the pressure. And that's the bottom line. So our offensive execution down the stretch. I mean, I got coaches saying, run this, run this, run this. Okay, well, run it. It doesn't matter what you run if you can't pass and catch the ball. You can't handle pressure. Doesn't matter what you run. You can't set a screen to get a guy open in an entry. Doesn't matter what you run. The problem is not our X's and O's. It is not. It's our belief, our toughness of saying, okay, I'm gonna make a play, because you have to make plays down the stretch. Desmond Cambridge made plays down the stretch. He did. Okay, his brother hit a big 3 in the corner down the stretch. Sometimes it comes down to guys that win make plays. Guys that don't win can't make plays. We had our chances. We're up 2 with the ball. They're pressing. We get the ball in the press. They take our lunch money. We got to stop. Couldn't get a rebound. So it's just and we did. We can't make free throws. So it's a combination of things, and this was a combination of things. It's not just one thing. But if you had to boil it down to one thing, it's toughness.
You saw 2 games back-to-back coming down to the wire. In those moments when there's a minute left, the score is pretty close. What do you tell your players, and what do you tell them to do?
Tell your players, we have to be able to rely on our defense to get stops, which we did tonight. You got to be strong with the ball, okay, knowing, okay, if the score's tied and they've got the ball, you got to get a stop and you got to get a score to win, right, or a stop and get fouled. If you're down 2, you got to get a stop and a score. If you're up 2, you got to get a stop and be strong with the ball, because they're coming to foul you. So every situation might be different. The Yale situations down the end of the game were different than tonight's situations. And again, it comes down to, can you get that stop? Can you execute your offense and be strong with it, knowing that they're going to come foul you? Can you step up and make free throws? Can you take care of the ball, knowing that they're going to shoot passing lanes? And so it becomes a possession game, and it's not rocket science in terms of what you tell your guys. You have to believe. We had guys tonight. They're rattled. They're shocked. Their confidence is shaken. I have to look at, am I yelling too much at our guys? Am I yelling too much at them? Can they not handle a coach that gets in them and challenges them? Because right now, they can't.
On that, you talked about toughness, talked about belief. We talked with KJ earlier, and he was saying, with tonight's game and the Yale game, where they get a lead, but they get kind of complacent. How do you go about trying to change that, or as a coach, are you kind of limited in that? Like, is that somewhere for them it has to come from within them?
You have to have a sense of urgency in every possession. And look, I'll look at the first half. Like, they had 23 points at halftime. We fouled a 3-point shooter. He made 3 points. We box a guy out and try to go get a one-handed rebound. And again, I don't know who can get one-handed rebounds. Dr. J had really big hand. He couldn't get one-handed rebounds. It goes off our hand into the basket. That's 5 points. You know, transition defense, you know they're throwing it up to the rim for lobs. We stop and just watch it go over our head and don't even make a play at the ball. There's another, that's 7 points. That's where the consistency comes. Like, it's just, that's the first half. Everybody says, oh, you're good enough in the first half. Yeah, well, we were, but we weren't consistently good enough. Like, you gotta, like, you get a team like Arizona State down, you better step on their throats. We talked about it at halftime. We're up 15. We got to win the first 4 minutes. We got to win the half. It starts with the first 4 minutes. Did we win the first 4 minutes? No. Did we win the second half? No. We got our tails kicked. So it's a sense of urgency that every possession matters. That's what we have to do, and that's what we don't do. We think, oh, we're up. People are going to fold. Guess what? Good teams don't fold.
Anything else for Coach?
Coach, you guys dominated the glass in the first half and evened out significantly in
Yeah.
the second. Part of that's them making a few more shots, but is there anything else that you attribute?
Yeah, just Arizona State, they ramped it up. You know, they weren't, again, they were down some guys. They were tired in the first half. We didn't have the pace of the game going in the second half because it's hard to get the pace going when, you know, you're not sprinting the floor and your guys are running in mud. And I mean, we had to stop early in the second half, and KJ's walking the ball up, and Lawson, like, there's no sense of urgency, you know, where we want to get the pace going when you're at home at altitude. We did the good job of that in the first half, but not the second half. It gets back to the consistency. It's just, you know, look, I mean, you got to start somewhere. We got to start with our toughness, mental toughness, physical toughness. Okay, it's all one and the same. It's all toughness, but it's as much mental as it is physical. So.
Anybody else?
I got one. Tad, what's your message for a guy like Julian who gave you some really good minutes in the first half, but turnovers plagued him in the second half, and you gave him the hook for Ethan?
Yeah, just like at some point you just got, like, you know, I mean, look, our guard play tonight was not good enough. You know, when your offense struggles, it starts with your guard play. It doesn't end with your guard play, but it starts with it. And the combination of KJ and Julian, we have 9 turnovers. That's our point guard position. It's going to be hard to win. You have 9 turnovers from your point guard position. If you're not making shots, if you're not making free throws, and you're not tough on offense, it's going to be tough to win. And with that said, we could have won this game, but we didn't. Thank you.